I did a lot of practices on this path, but I want to share with you really the first of the three that really helped me recognize stillness. And I always kind of laugh to myself because if I had known these early on, it wouldn't have taken me so many years to end the chase. And up until these were really my main practices, I would constantly be looking for things that I could do to slow down my life and, bring about this stillness that I was after. And I spent a lot of energy looking for ways to alleviate, the discomfort of life, the anxiety, the whole thing of it. And I did that through reading self-help books, from taking psychology courses. I even, looked at the array of religious views that are available to us. And I went from thing to thing, trying out all sorts of different routines and strategies. And, in the end, many of them were just mental games. Some helped, some didn't. I did use a lot of energy trying on those things to see if they would bring some sort of comfort. And I even took up, yoga, walking in nature, and, hours of meditation, and all those things I benefited from. It just seemed like I needed to look somewhere else or maybe look deeper. And for a long time, I used to feel like I was wasting, like I had wasted so much time chasing stillness. But in reality, that was just the path I had to take. Just as your path is the path that you have to take. So these weren't clear to me while I was chasing stillness, but after the chase ended, it really did become clear that these were, I suppose, the key things that helped me in the chase. So the first of these practices was self-inquiry. And honestly, I don't think I knew that it was self-inquiry when I was first doing it. I was unsure what I was doing other than asking questions. And this practice of asking questions to yourself to find, answers to the one who's asking questions or about the one who's asking questions, it is self-inquiry. And this might be a question about yourself, your thoughts, the things that you believe, about your values, and it could be even much deeper than that. It could be something that's intimately close to you that you question. And at first I didn't, when I was doing this practice, it did help me have a deeper understanding of, many of the beliefs that I was holding on to, and it did allow me to see a little better, or maybe clearer, to have an understanding of where my thoughts were coming from, my emotional responses to certain situations, both good and bad, and, how it affected those around me. When I first started, and I didn't set aside a specific time, there was no formality to it. If I'd go for a walk, I would just kind of re-look at, the responses that I had to people or situations from that day and kind of why they went the way they did. Definitely wasn't a formal kind of practice. But I just asked the questions and then questioned the answers that arose. I also hadn't started with that well-known self-inquiry question that cuts through all the others. I didn't start by asking myself, what am I? Who am I? Or where did this I come from? Digging into that came much, much later. So I would ask myself questions like, what made me react a certain way to a situation that I was in, like either good or bad? Um, or how did so and so irritate me so quickly? And then how did I allow it to bother me the rest of that day? Like, what causes that? What caused that? And then when a question would arise, no matter how silly it was, I would just question that answer again. And it was that over and over of asking those questions, and just helped reveal a lot of things that um, bring you closer to stillness. And it, and self-inquiry is one of those practices that I wholeheartedly encourage. But just be patient with yourself, and don't judge yourself on the questions or the answers that come up. Um, just answer the questions and do your best not to put them up against some sort of good person measuring system. And it took a long time to uncover the deeper insights or understanding. I don't know what to call them. So don't be discouraged if you don't find any life changing answers right away. Um, and with some honest practice, and sometimes, in my case, a lot of times, the things that come up are ugly, they're painful, and you just don't want to look at them, but you just need to be with them, because the fear that's trying to stop you from looking at them, that's not you. That's not what you are. That's not who you are. That fear comes from the part that wants to remain separate. Um, and this process, you have to trust this process. And to really trust that process is you have to allow it to unfold. But for it to unfold, you have to get out of its way. And when you get to a point where you're out of answers to all the questions that you've asked, you're probably at the answer. And you'll know because all the other questions dissolve. Thank you for being here.